Okay, let's make a short movie of a rocket taking off, a rocket ship taking off. You need to go to animatron.com and you want to use Studio and just click on Try for free. You want to log in and use your Google account. Just click on that G. Let me go over to a different browser. Here is a movie open. It will default to the light version for younger kids. Please use Expert. You'll know, and don't use Design. So for right now, just be an animation. In the beginning, we're just going to draw an outline of a rocket, and then we're going to take all the things that we did to make that rocket, and we're going to group it into one object. And the way we're going to start this is with the brush tool. We'll smoothen this to be around 10. When you draw with smoothness on, it'll make your lines look a little bit better. And the size, I think, would be about 3 would be good. And so you could slide that, or you could also just simply go to here and say maybe 5. Let's see what that does. The fill color is going to be your stroke color of what you're drawing. So I'm going to do the outline in gray. Draw half the rocket on one side, and then draw the other half on this side. You want to make sure that they do touch, there's no gaps. I'm going to draw the base. We're not going to do any fire at this point. We'll just kind of draw a rocket. I'll do some fins. And don't worry about how your rocket looks. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put a window in here. And maybe divide the rocket a bit into sections so I can make them different colors. So you outline the rocket like that. To fill it in, use the paint bucket tool, and you can hit fill. And start using some different colors for your rocket. I'm going to maybe have a aqua color here, there, and there. Maybe some red here. And the body, perhaps one of this color and another one of this color. You can leave the window empty. You'll be able to see through it and see space, or you can fill it with white if you want, but I'm going to leave it alone so it will be transparent. When we drew each one of those things, notice I can put my cursor here and get a double arrow. I can pull up. You can see that you have a lot of layers all of a sudden based on what you've drawn. Well, what you want to do is to group all those things, and you need to select everything. One easy way to do that is to use the select tool right here and draw an imaginary rectangle over your drawing. That'll highlight everything, and notice all the layers are now highlighted. What you want to do then is to do a right click on a Chromebook. You got to hold down the Alt key. On a Mac, you need to hold down the Control key to simulate a right click if you do not have that programmed in your mouse. So I'm holding down the Control or the Alt key if I was on a Chromebook, and you get a right click, and you want to go to Convert to Movie Clip. This is while it's all selected. That makes it one object, and you can even rename it. So we have a rocket, and we're going to have it take off. When you're drawing, sometimes it's a good thing to hide things and lock the layer so you can't hurt it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to lock it by clicking on this dot underneath the padlock, and I'll hide it temporarily by clicking on the dot under the eyeball. These are toggles. I can quickly bring them back whenever I need to. So I'm going to lock it, and I'm also going to hide it. Now, when I draw the next thing, it'll go on its own layer. So I need to have some grass and some sky. And so I'm going to go and get green. And the bottom third of my canvas will be that. Oh, I'm in the wrong shape. To change the shape, I want a rectangle. Click on this little guy right here. And choose that. Now that'll be better. So something like this, some green here. And then you need to do some sky. What you want to do is click off of this object to deselect it, and now reselect this tool, choose a new color for your sky, and then draw that out. Okay. So now you see where these guys went. These new shapes appeared. If I was to bring back the rocket at this time, you'll notice that you can't even see it. And that is because the rocket is the bottom layer. What you can do is click on this layer and pull it up, and you have something like this. Now, if you find that your rocket isn't really showing up well against the sky, you can come back to this and change the color as needed. Okay? All right, and if you wanted to, you could just rename these. It's handy to do that because when you're looking at your layers, you get confused if they're not labeled. So that's kind of nice. Later, you could come back in this scene and add buildings and things like that. But right now, let's just go ahead and make a movie. So we have this rocket, and you can put it anywhere you want. I'm going to put it about right here. And we're going to have it take off. So I want it to kind of sit there for a few seconds. So what I'm going to do is just put a keyframe at the 2-second mark. So I put my, take your timeline, go to the 2-second mark, and then hold down the Alt key if you're on a Chromebook or the Control key if you're on a Mac, and click, and you want to insert a keyframe here. Now, so for the first 2 seconds of the movie, the rocket doesn't move at all. Now I want it to take off, and I'm going to give it about 1.5 seconds to do that. So I'm going to go to 3.5 here, put in another keyframe. It's at this keyframe I move the rocket up, and I can use the arrow key for that, or I could drag it up with my mouse. You'll know you've done it right if you see that little dotted line. So you want this off the canvas. And so the effect is, and now this movie, I don't know why this scene's so long, it says 37 seconds here. I want it just to be about, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds long. And one way you can do that is your scene over here is I'm changing it. And now here's the end of scene marker. I don't know why it usually it defaults to like 10 seconds. But once the rocket's off the screen, I'll just leave that maybe for like 1 second. So now, if you take your timeline marker and move it back here, and if you just manually run it, you can see that it sits there and then it takes off, okay? And again, if I hit play, my rocket's there and it takes off, all right? After you have that animation happening, you can set what's known as the ease. And you put your timeline marker anywhere in between the 2 keyframes here where this transition's happening, or the animation's happening, and right-click, and you can hit something called Set Easing. And what this will do is give you a way to look like it's pulling away from the Earth and fighting gravity. So if it'll default to, I think, in and out both being checked. What I did is I unchecked out and use cubic. And that kind of gives me the effect that I'm looking for. And so if I hit back now, notice there's a line here. And if I play it, it'll sit there and it should fight the gravity and then take off faster. It's a subtle difference, but it does make a difference. Okay? So that's the first scene, and we're going to call this takeoff. So let's click on scene 1 here and say takeoff. Again, you can come back later and add some background to this, maybe some buildings or a tower. But that's a simple way to get a rocket made and have it take off, okay? Next we'll be doing having it leave planet Earth. Thanks.